Bit of Our Childhood is coming back. Hulu has said they have acquired and will be putting Animaniacs on Hulu. All episodes from the library will be available. But wait! There's more! They have also ordered 2 brand new seasons of Animaniacs added to Hulu that will begin in the year 2020. Remember, it's animation. You gotta take time to make the... it's not like, hey, point and click, and you gotta make it. These are things that gotta be made. They gotta be drawn and everything like that. They gotta make, scripts and everything. No, but come 2020, we're gonna have 2 brand new seasons of Animaniacs in addition to top of what was already made. The internet broke yesterday over this. I was getting tagged left and right. I saw people posting about it left and right. I know you were more of a Tiny Toons person.
No, that's not what I'm sitting here thinking. I'm just sitting here thinking how the internet's going to break when it comes out, and it's not what anyone expects.
Well, here's the other thing, too, that has me a little bit... I mean, they still have the working relationship, obviously, with Warner Brothers, so it's probably not going to be a problem. But... remember, Animaniacs did always walk that fine line with some of the adult material and the jokes.
Yeah.
But there was always a lot of references as well.
Yeah.
There was, they had their music artists always made appearances. Warner Brothers music artists always made appearances in it. Warner Brothers past and present.
What the hell is going on?
Wicked just knocked over more than half my can of my Monster.
What the hell is going on with our cat tonight?
Take over for a minute.
Okay. But yes, I mean, as far as what I do know of Animaniacs, they did have a lot of, cultural references and movie references, and on top of that, they were actually quite educational from what I did see. They've had songs about the countries of the United States and just the countries of the world. Yeah. Now, my concern with it coming back and returning is the fact that times have changed. Everything is very different. Humor is very, very different. And, this is something a lot of adults are going to be watching in terms of, we used to love this show, so is it being made for that audience? Is it being made for a new audience? What is it going to lose in changing it, since the times have changed so very much? The cat just seriously knocked over, a lot. Cat's gonna die.
My can was nowhere near that empty, and now I pretty much have an empty can.
Drink another, and I'll buy you more tomorrow. I want to know what the hell the cats are doing in order to do all that. Yes, exactly, Margaret. Like how Thundercats came back. It was completely different.
Bastardized! Bastardized!
See, this is also, this is what... Again, I'm not anti-remake. But when you take something from approximately 30 years ago and try to do it again, there's a very fine line, because you need to think of your demographic. It's a cartoon, so newer kids are going to be watching it. You got to make sure those kids are going to like it, but you also have to realize, 30, 40 something year olds, they're going to want to watch it too.
They want the nostalgia. Everybody wants the nostalgia.
Kind of like DuckTales. Right now, DuckTales actually did it right. DuckTales is just perfect enough for old fans like us, and perfect enough for newer fans. It is absolutely just where it needs to be in terms of the humor, in terms of the, whatever story they go with.
There was enough reinvention as well.
Yes, and there was enough reinvention where it was still new to some of us that had watched it. And even the art styling is different, but it works.
And again, there was the reinvention, but it still feels like DuckTales.
Yes.
There were things that they changed with it, but it still feels like DuckTales.
Yes, thank you.
And everything like that. And like when they remade Thundercats, I remember watching it with you, and I was like, this is not Thundercats. Yeah. Like, what the fuck did they do? Like, and again, I understand, remakes, you make some changes, you want to modernize a little bit, but you can't negate the history that is built there.
Yeah.
And everything like that as well. It's kind of like Transformers will always be Transformers, but you can't negate what you did before.
Yeah.
There will always have to be some sort of connection to Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Yeah. Now, there are some things that worked. Like Margaret just mentioned, Care Bears was redone. That came out terribly.
Mm-hmm.
My Little Pony, the newer version is actually a lot better than the older version. But, I mean, let's be real here. That was mainly for just girls back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to change it to the way it has, it's broadened. its demographic. Whereas Animaniacs, this is something that was just gender neutral completely. Everybody watched it. So there's a lot to, take on with this, I feel. I mean, didn't they try to redo Tiny Toons once as well and it completely flopped?
It was talked about, but I don't think they actually did it.
Okay.
So, I look forward to it. Again, I think Warner Brothers is obviously going to have that formula in terms of like what they're going to be able to reference and everything like that. I think they have an open library in terms of that. It's just, will the comedy be there? Will the timing? Because that was the one thing. Animaniacs was special in the sense it wasn't just like slapstick cartoons.
Yeah.
There was kind of a little bit of a throwback or homage to old classic Bugs Bunny cartoons because there was a quick wit to it.
Yes.
I mean, other than the slapstick, there was dialogue that you had to catch, and if you were older, you were like, "Oh, you were a little that's a little racist." Like there were things that were said, there were things that were done, like that. Things were a little risque, and they, we're gonna still be a kids' cartoon, but there's gonna be a fine line we're gonna put our toe into every now and again, And again, are we bringing back any of the old writers? Is it new writers? Are they going to be able to capture that type of feel? And again, other than Animaniacs, we're not just talking now. Again, we're not talking about just the Wacko brothers and the Warner sister, the Warner brothers and the Warner sister Dot. We're talking about an entire cast. This was Pinky and the Brain, the Good Feathers, and a long list of other characters. I don't know like that. Slappy Squirrel, like. There's a lot of characters in this thing, so hopefully they're going to be able to capture this. Are we going to see any new characters introduced? And if they do introduce new characters, which is always a possibility, will they fit into the Animaniacs world? So we're just going to have to wait and see.
For a cartoon, it's a lot to take on.
It is. It is. Animaniacs was huge for people. It was a huge cartoon.
Well,
it was absolutely huge. So, yeah, don't fuck with my childhood, man. That's all I'm saying. And ladies and gentlemen, that is generally the nerd news of the week before we get into the larger portion that I said I was going to surprise everybody watching with and everything like that. And Margaret, hopefully you're tuned in because there is going to be one piece on here for you. Because I told Brad to make sure you tuned in. We're going to be going over, because we're in a new year, we're going to briefly be going over a list, which is actually not really a short list when I told you about it, of the confirmed biggest games of 2018 coming out.
Yes. Now, mind you, we might have discussed some of these before, but you also have to realize
these were before we had dates.
These were before we had dates, and they all received the date of doom, which is January 31st, which basically
December
means
31st.
December 31st, yes, which basically means, haha, we don't know, so here you go.
Yeah, for those of you not familiar with that, if you shop on it, if you ever watch E3 or whatever like that, or there's a video game you've been looking for, and then you always see the date. It says December 31st at the end of whatever year we're currently in. That is the date of doom because that means there is no definite release date. They just push it back that far back in hopes it will come out this year, but it doesn't mean it comes out this year.
It doesn't. Sometimes it just means it doesn't come out at all.
Yeah, sometimes it means it because we had games that happened like that. There was Vegas. Vegas was one of them.
Vegas, yep.
Vegas was one of them.
Scalebound.
But these games have been confirmed for this year.
Yes.
And they're amongst the quote-unquote the biggest that will be coming out this year and everything like that. So, and again, as Miss Foxy mentioned, some of these games we have mentioned in the past, but again, these were before we had a confirmed, at least not necessarily a date, but at least a year.
Yes, because again, while we might have talked about these because of E3, what you also have to realize is sometimes just because it's talked about in E3 2017 doesn't mean it's coming out that next year like they all say it is. Sometimes they mean 2019.
Or later.
Or much later.
Or
like every
unknown.
time they ever talked about Dragon Age, or every time they ever talked about Mass Effect, or every time they ever talked about Kingdom Hearts, or every
Cyberpunk
talked
2049.
about Cyberpunk 2049, or anytime they would talk about, what's that? That's that one that you would, him.
There's
The
always
Red
one.
Dead Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had the letdown ones like Dragonborn and stuff like that.
Scalebound.
Scalebound, yes. All right. Well, that being said,
Yeah.
let's jump into the list. Right at the top of the list, these are actually, I think it was kind of like shown almost alphabetically. The first game on the list will be from EA, which is Anthem.
Yes.
EA needs this win.
They do.
Because obviously, Mass Effect Andromeda didn't turn out so well. And again, people are blaming the game developers. I'm a huge, in case anybody on this planet doesn't know by now, I am a huge lover of the Mass Effect franchise.
No.
Yeah, you didn't know?
No.
I'm a huge lover of the Mass Effect franchise.
15 years of marriage and I'm just figuring out this now?
I know, right?
Oh my god.
It's insane. No, but I'm a huge lover of the Mass Effect franchise. Did I love Mass Effect Andromeda? No. But was I amongst one of those that absolutely hated it? No, because it had potential. And I continuously always follow the stories before, leading up to, during, and after the game's release. Basically, the game developers had finally admitted, they says, look, we're not making excuses. This is not the game we wanted. They wanted to legitimately push the game back 5 more months. And told producers, we want to do this right. We have a hardcore fan base that are emotionally attached to this franchise because of what we built. Let us give them the right game. No, we need it out now. We need it out this year. So they had no choice but to put it out the way it was. So, of course, obviously, Mass Effect has now been put on hiatus indefinitely. And all focus has gone into this game that they have shown called Anthem. Which looks to be, it's kind of a mix between third-person view and first-person shooter. It has this whole big story and like that. But it's pretty much been said all over gaming professionals, gaming communities, EA has to win with this one.
Yeah, they do.
Because the dropping the ball on Mass Effect Andromeda was a huge blow to that company. Because this was a company, again, very solid. I mean, granted, yes, they've kept you waiting on Dragon Age and everything, but the content that they have put out over the course of the last decade or so has been amazing.
I agree. I don't mind the wait. I just hate the tease.
Yeah, but their content had always been amazing.
Yes.
And then to have such a failure of Mass Effect Andromeda, because let's call it a spade, it was a failure.
Yeah.
It was a mass flop. No pun intended. But, so this is a win that gaming industry people are saying they have to win this.
Yeah, they do.
If they don't win this, and it's, there have been points here where there is a little bit of worry already, but if they don't win this, this could possibly really not only tarnish their name, but maybe even totally demoralize the game developing company as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because and again, so now they're plunking everything into this. So I'm intrigued by Anthem, but they've burned their fan base right now, and they not just burned the fan base, but they've burned critics and professionals in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
People that have a lot of clout and weight in whether a game makes it forward or not, and how much press they got and everything like that. And everybody's approaching anything released by EA right now with a very hesitantly,
Yes.
very carefully. So, good luck EA with Anthem. That's all I can say about that.
This is where you could already tell shit's hitting the fan. I don't even remember what Anthem is about.
Me either.
It was that weird one with the suits that kind of look like Iron Man suits. They're these big mech suits, but it look very, and they kind of, it's kind of, we didn't get a full story on it. It looks beautiful. It looked beautiful, but it's just like...
That's always a telltale sign of that it might not.
Like the gameplay. I'm talking about the gameplay. The gameplay
Yeah.
looked great because they showed gameplay and it looked great. It looked smooth. But it's just like, it's one of those very intricate stories. Future mech dystopian world and all this stuff, and there's a lot going on. Alright, moving forward to another game finally coming that people have been inquiring about, No Way Out. Those of you, but
Yeah.
I know you were intrigued by this one.
Good, yeah.
No Way Out takes the what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like the Mass Effect, kind of like the playable decision-making games, but they're taking it to the next level now, where you're playing not one but 2 characters individually, and their individual things encompass this story. So both characters are important, and it's more so made to be. This is the first ever co-op play story game. This game is made to be played with someone else, and your decisions affect each other. The things you do affect each other the entire way. This is a very, very ambitious game. It's the first time it's ever being done where it's 2 players that decide how this story unfolds, and the success of the game of the story of your the success of your character depends on the person that you're playing with. So this is definitely going to be interesting and probably cause a lot of fights.
Yeah.
No Way Out involves the protagonists are 2 prison escapees, and they're pretty much working together. One to escape prison, and then two, go the rest of the way and do the rest of the missions that they're doing. So this is very, very ambitious. It's going to be very interesting.